Yo, what's up guys, Aiden here. Yeah, no fancy introduction today. I'm going to jump straight into it with two trades. I made 1300 in total over the last 2 days trading two different tickers. One was a BK bounce, a bankruptcy bounce, and one was a first green day. If you guys want to dig further into these setups, I definitely would recommend joining Roland Wolf's chat room. Have been a member there for the past year. I am taking a little break for health reasons, but I do intend on being back there soon. That really is where I've been learning these setups from. And there's still a lot for sure for me to learn there. So straight into it with TCTM, which was the first green day. I just finished trading actually. Now we can see here, guys, if you don't know what first green day is, the link is linked in the description below. Please go and watch that video first. So here you can see it's had this big day one and it's finished up 300%. First green days, I do prefer when it's had like multiple green days on its run up, but this is a significantly strong first green day, finishing up 300%, and I think at its peak, how much is that up? I don't know, like 600%, something like that. So yeah, a lot of eyes on this one. Now the issue I had with this as a first green day is its retracement wasn't very clean, because you can see here it kind of gapped. It gapped up here, so this was a possible first green day. Yeah, it just wasn't very clean. It had a bounce on its first red day. It wasn't a clean retracement, so I kind of left it alone and kind of wasn't sort of, it kind of killed the setup for me. But then when I saw, obviously this significant red day here, and then when I saw this sort of bottoming action here, I thought, okay, this could be the day that today could be the day that it goes. Something very important is to note that the volume on this day was, really high, over 700 million shares, and then it completely fell off. So I was looking today for a liquidity trap style first green day, a bit of a squeeze. The volume didn't come in as much as I had hoped. So I did end up sort of, I could have made it. I was hoping to make a lot more on this trade, but I still made 400, so it's cool. But let me show you exactly what happened if we jump to the intraday chart. So we can see here, this is the big day one, and then the next day it kind of gaps up, and then it opens. Does it open red? But it's a big gap up, and then a gap up the next day. It's not a clean retracement like this. This was a very clean retracement. This is what I wanted from the start of this day here on this close. I wanted it to retrace cleanly like that, but because it didn't, I kind of left it alone through all this time. Then, however, what I did like, you've clearly got a risk here. Around 42 cents, because that's what's going on, because that's the low of the retracement roughly. So there is something clear there to risk off. Now what I noticed is it was forming this wedge, okay, and that wedge was forming around 50 cents. So it's not the cleanest wedge, but it was something that I was taking note of. Now when it sort of broke this wedge, I would sort of expect it to come back and retest this low here, and because it didn't, I thought, well, that's possibly like a sign that the bottom is in. So when I saw it sort of gapping up today, I sort of had my eyes on it, and I decided to take it red. I took it at 51 cents. Red green was this close was almost 48 cents. So I took it here because I could see sort of it was finally green on the day, and I just felt like this could be the day that it went. Again, partially because it had this I didn't have massive faith in this wedge, just because it's not the cleanest, but I drew it on for a reason, you know. If it had broken to the upside, I was going to take it, but as it broke to the downside and couldn't fully break down, like I say, that was a sign to me that the bottom might be in. And so when it went green, I took it. I was kind of like looking at it at like 49 cents. I tried to get it at 49, I couldn't. Tried to get it at 50, I missed it, and then at 51, I felt like I was chasing a bit, but you know what, I just bought into it. Now, I was trying to have more patience with this. You can see I drew these lines on before taking the trade. So this 69 level was really crucial for me because of the high of day here. That's the multi-day breakout level. And so kind of I did have another price target of around 90. But yeah, I was a bit greedy. I am trying to improve my patience, but I was a little bit greedy as well. So I should have been taking off a much bigger piece of my position here. But I didn't. I kind of took off a small bit and then ended up selling it into weakness. So on another day, I do feel like one thing to take into consideration is this is a Hong Kong stock. So, you know, it's a little bit more sketchy anyway. But on another day, the volume could have really come in, but it didn't really get going. See, the volume's still absolutely tiny down here. It still really didn't, you know. So I was hoping that potentially it could sort of, you know, come down, hold somewhere, and then retest and possibly, you know, more volume come in. But it just didn't happen. So at the end of the day, I had to cut. And a good job I did, or else I would have been back down to below where I bought it from. So yeah, still made 400 on this. So yeah, not a bad. I traded it pretty well, to be honest with you. The fact I could identify that I thought today was the day that it would go is pretty good. Like I say, that's largely down to the wedge and this just failure to break down. Over multiple days, it's not breaking down. So if it's not breaking down, the probability is it's going to go up. So I hope that is of some use to you. If we just look again at the 5-minute chart, we can see here it's putting in, like, it is wedging and it is putting in these higher lows. It does try to break and it can't. And the next day it goes green. So yeah, worth a shot in my book. Okay, so the next one I traded yesterday was OMGA. This was a BK bounce. So we first, as always, with the daily chart, we can see this is the day it announced Chapter 11. Had this big retracement and then looking for a possible bounce, as these bankrupt stocks like to do. I want to still get better at this setup. I'm not particularly skilled at it. I need to sort of get in touch with Roland a bit more and just really dig down and understand this setup in more detail. I think it bounces. I know it sometimes bounces, but I think the reason for that is shorts covering. I imagine that's what it is. I'm not, and I guess people who know this setup. So crazy that you can make hundreds of percent on a stock that just declared bankrupt. The price target normally for these is it fills the gap. It goes back to where it came from, so around 43. So let's jump to the 5-minute chart. I actually took a small win on it. So I thought it showed some like basing action here. So this is the big drop day. Then it showed some basing action here, and then I kind of like thought that this is the day that it might go, and I can risk off sort of this low here. So I took a piece and it just collapsed, and I just sold it for I think I still made a couple of hundred on that. But yeah, it's kind of like a failed setup. But the fact that was kind of in my mind that it has these spikes and just spikes and dumps, and another one here. So that was playing on my mind a bit. But here I'm buying around 12 cents. So I knew there was a key level of 10. I thought 10 was a very important level just because it's the round psychological number. As well as there's some NASDAQ listing requirements at 10 as well. So what we can see, after the day after I took this trade, it kind of moves on down. It held 9. Okay, now often sort of these round numbers of like $1 or 10 cents, they hold 90 cents or 9 cents. So I quite liked the fact it had held 9 roughly. I didn't get involved in this, but when I became interested, I was seeing it hold 10, and then after hours it had this spike and dumped again. And I know kind of it's done it here and here, but for some reason my intuition just said, I think tomorrow's the day. So I took a little piece after hours at 11 cents, thinking, you know what, if it just starts running pre-market, at least I've got a little piece. It was very small, and I was going to risk off this 9 level here. So I 20% risk. So I took a really small position. Then when the market opened, I traded it really, really badly. So I was just doing everything you shouldn't do. My initial entries were quite good. And then I just started sort of like adding on random dips, because I felt like this has got a long way to go, and just started adding at random dips, and then it just came down and just ended up cutting. I was, and then I'd buy again into strength. I can't remember my exact entries and exits, apart from here and here where I had really good entries. I was chasing entries and then cutting weakness. I was really doing the opposite of what I was supposed to be doing. However, what I did well was I recognized today had higher volume than the past. Now I identified that very early, so we can see here this is the first sort of half an hour of the day, and if you look at the volume down there, you can see it's significantly higher than anything it's done since it's declared bankrupt. Now that to me was a really key sign that, okay, the volume's here today, this has got a really good chance of going. So the fact I could identify that gave me the conviction to get back in. And so I started getting back in just all around here. I can't remember what my average was. I think my average ended up being 12 cents. I'm not sure 12 what, but around 12. Now I had my price targets, but I had sort of taken a few losses on this, getting chopped up and stuff. And so I started trading profit over process, and it was like selling too soon. I think my best sell was like 21, I think it was, but I was taking pieces off all in here. Then when it had this big dump, I took even more off. So yeah, kind of missed the meat of the move on that one really, and especially because I understood that the ultimate profit target was around 40 cents, and so I wasn't particularly surprised to see it do that after hours. After holding this low here, I was surprised, to be honest with you, because it was so weak after this double top here. I was quite surprised to see it recover, but perhaps that's my inexperience in this trade. Perhaps that's what BK bounces sometimes look like. I don't know. I did sort of rebuy, thinking, it might retest here. I thought this could have been a nice entry. I rebought thinking it was going to double bottom here, and it didn't, and so I just cut. But then when it reclaimed very, very quickly, that would have been nice entry, and a nice sort of, that's like what's that, 30-40% move. So that's an opportunity that I did go for, but I missed. But ultimately the best trade was off this 10-cent area, with big picture in mind. So, but like I say, I was selling all here. So sold way too much, way too soon. And I think that's part of the reason why I wanted to be so more like patient and aggressive with this first green day in TCTM. But it is what it is. What's moving at the minute here? Yeah, there's something. I'm not going to go into that one now. But that's it. Plus 1400, 2 days. Hope to see you guys soon with another video, and the rest of you guys in Roland's chat room in the not too distant future, I hope. Hope that makes sense. Any questions, put them in the comments. Cheers. Bye-bye.